Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Time Traveler's Handbook. Today we are going to be starting our discussion on Season 4 with Episode 2, The Fires of Pompeii. Spoilers ahead. This episode has the Doctor with his new companion Donna Noble traveling to Pompeii on Volcano Day. I like this episode for a moral dilemma thrown in with time travel mechanics that gives us some foreshadowing for what happens to the 10th Doctor in later episodes. Mount Vesuvius is supposed to erupt and wipe out Pompeii. The Doctor says that this is a fixed event, something that we've talked about a little bit before, but it hasn't been as directly impactful until this episode. An alien race is preventing the eruption of the volcano so that they can try to save their race, but in turn, that would wipe out all of humanity. So the Doctor faces the dilemma of letting the volcano stay dormant or destroy the machine that is causing it to be dormant, wiping out the people below. What does this mean on the level of what is possible in the universe when we're talking about time travel mechanics? This episode would seem to argue that since this is a fixed event, it cannot be changed, and thus the Doctor has no choice but to pull the trigger. However, we know that from a standpoint of other things that we've seen in the show, the world is fatalistic, not deterministic, and thus the Doctor does have a choice in whether or not to do this. This is just one case where we see this dilemma pop up, but we'll see other cases in future episodes where the Doctor goes the other direction and changes a fixed event or lets it take its course as intended. And what happens is that future changes to account for that fact. In this case, I think weighing the future of humanity was really what influenced the decision, not the necessity of pulling the trigger, because that's how it always has to happen. Although we can speculate because of fatalism that even if he didn't pull that trigger and make the volcano erupt, there would have been some other way that the machine would have been destroyed or otherwise deactivated in order to still cause history to take its course and for Mount Vesuvius to erupt. The Doctor is given an inch to the influencing of fixed events by saving a family that would have been killed by the eruption. This is just another hint that fixed events don't always have to happen the same way in history that they were prescribed to happen, and saving a couple of people does not change the entire course of history to a terribly dramatic effect. That doesn't apply always. We'll see in some later episodes that making this kind of decision does dramatically affect history, but in this case, it does not, and the Doctor is able to save a few people that would have otherwise died in the eruption. We'll talk more about fixed events and fatalism in other episodes that we'll talk about this season, but for now, this concludes our discussion on the fires of Pompeii. We're going to continue on to the Doctor's daughter next. As always, thank you for listening.